kind of concentrating to change it. And she sent me back the email. She said, they questioned me because she's signing my signature all the time. So.
By they, she means bankers or
yeah, you know,
merchants?
she went to a store, you know, she signs my
I see.
So they questioned her with my handwriting. I said, you know, it's good the early alert notified.
Yes.
No, but I'm looking at his handwriting. You wrote Tom Kubist and his orchestra, which is a CD I want to mention.
Thank you.
And another was Keep Smiling by Tom Kubist. Incidentally, Tom Kubist is that wonderful man that plays the music on my introduction, which was written by you for me.
Yes.
That you named it something else beside Arlene, but I never let you do it. And so now you've finally given in, right? That song is Arlene.
Okay, you'll forgive me having written about 6,500 songs. I have a very hazy memory about most of them. But yes, that was Tom, and it is indeed the theme of your show. Tom has done 2 albums of my music, now released in CD form. And the one that's, again, depending on when you're seeing this, remember when jackets like this were in style, there's a clue for you. The second one is called not Keep Smiling, but Keep Swinging, or Swinging if you're that hip.
I used to love, you used to invite me. I used to go to those outside, we do concerts all the time, but I remember seeing you in several, I like you better in the outside concerts.
Really?
Yeah.
In the broad daylight, you mean?
No. When you do like a Hollywood Bowl kind of thing or something like that.
Oh, I see.
You know, rather than I've seen you in clubs.
I will attend to that matter immediately. Joya, would you please be sure Monroe Friedman alerts Arlene Peck about any and all of my upcoming personal appearances, especially those with a musical connection in the Southern California area.
I want to be on your A-list.
I don't have one, but if I ever do,
if you get an A-list, I want to be on.
A for Arlene, we'll put your name at the top.
Okay, we used to do lunch sometime even. But he never got away from his office, so we would do lunch at his office.
Yes, I eat lunch at my office. I haven't been home in about 8 years.
I believe you stay busy. You stay busier than one on paper hanger.
I work 7 days a week, yeah, but it's all fun. It's all casual. I don't run too fast to get from A to B. I just.
It's nice when you go to sleep and you say, "Wow, I had a good day," and every day's a good day. I thank God for everyone I get. I really do. I literally do. My people say out here they do meditation, and I say I don't meditate, but then meanwhile I ride my bicycle.
Good.
I ride, like along the bike path in Santa Monica to Malibu or the marina down to.
Wow.
And
that's a long ride.
Well, I'll go from Marina Del Rey down past Santa Monica. And I don't think it's a long ride, but then I get in the car and I say, wow, this is really far.
Yeah.
But when I'm riding and I'm looking at the water and I'm just, just kind of, I don't know, I guess it's my meditation time, but I don't realize it. And I just.
Whatever works.
Yeah, like, thank you, God. We're blessed. I have a few questions to ask you about smokers' rights. You wrote in one of the books about smokers' rights. What are smokers' rights?
It's a pity
Do they have rights?
It's a pity they have any at all. Their rights have been sharply curtailed, and thank goodness for that. About 15 years ago, a non-smoker, such as myself, was considered a troublemaker if in a crowded restaurant you had the nerve to go, which I often had to do because I hated it when I would be spending, $40 for the best steak in town, and just as that first mouthful, clouds of smoke, the worst, and now we know kills about 425,000 people a year in this one country alone. They're smoking more than that in China, so you can imagine how many millions are being killed over there. The marvelous show 60 Minutes did a crushing expose of the heartlessness, the total lack of morality, ethics, decency, civility of the leaders, the top executives of the tobacco industry.
Yeah, and now we know they're proven right.
Yeah, well, we knew that already. The thing is, they were liars.
Yeah.
There was a remarkable play, not great as drama or literature, but it made a very important moral point. Ibsen's Enemy of the People. For those few of your listeners who are not familiar with the outline of the story, a doctor who works in a small European community famous for its waters and that sort of thing, a health spa sort of place, discovers just a couple of days before the opening of the big annual fair, which draws thousands of tourists and therefore many thousands of dollars, that there is a dangerous organism in the local drinking water. He immediately rushes to the city fathers and says, you must call everything off. They say, why? He says, well, he shows them the slides and it's over. People will die. They will get sick. This is a terrible danger to public health. They tell him, to get to the point here, keep your damn mouth shut We'll talk to you after the fair's over. And that
That's
morally,
yeah.
that same moral crime has been perpetrated going back to Upton Sinclair's book, oh dear, I've suddenly forgotten, The Jungle, that's what it was called. It was perpetrated by the meat packers of that day. That was in the early part of the century. They don't do that anymore. But they had to be called to public account or they would never have stopped it. And now we have the tobacco people and all too many other industries. The drug industry has been guilty of that sort of immorality and criminality in many instances.
You know, it's like amazing though. It's like finally, I think out here now, we're finally getting aware a little bit. And you can go into a place and they have, you know, you can't, I mean, in California, you can smoke in the privacy of your own car, preferably with the windows up. But yet, I was out the other night, and they have these cigar places.
Yeah, the cigar industry.
And women think it's so chic to light up these cigars. I think it's gross looking, but
yeah.
Why? And how can they get away with these cigar clubs? And
on the assumption that women have at least some degree of interest in what men think of them, about a long list of factors, I would suggest that before any woman lights up her next cigar, she takes even a very amateurish survey of about 19 of the men, a little survey among 19 of the men she knows. She could also consult more formal literature.
Look at the mirror. I mean,
well, that's nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Most men are disgusted to seeing a woman smoking a cigar. They may vary, some may dig it, and 300 others will hate it, but check it out, girls. You're really making yourself look like a slob of some kind with the cigar in your mouth. First of all, another factor is that it stinks.
Yeah, I would come. I spent about half the time in Israel and half the time here. I'm sort of a bicontinent. And in Israel, they love it over here so much. In the United States, they really think they're the 51st state. I mean, they want to be the 51st state. Mm-hmm. And so they emulate so much of what we do. And it was so discouraging the last time I went over there. And all those wonderful little nut places and all those marvelous little falafel stands are slowly being replaced by Burger King and McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts.
And the connection with smoking is?
Well, because the same thing with smoking, they think that it's cool. You know, like they see Joe Cool and all the billboards and things, and Joe Camel, whatever.
Yeah.
And you go out there, everybody is smoking. In fact, all over Europe, really.
Yeah.
And they smoke and they smoke. And I come home and my clothes and my hair stink like so. And I say, why does my clothes and my hair smell like their cigarettes?
In the book you mentioned, the Non-Smoker's Bill of Rights, which came out 15 years or more ago, I told a little story. As a story, it's pretty dull, but it made a point. On New Year's Eve, in many parts of the world, if not all, it is considered part of the deal that at the stroke of midnight, along with the music and the hay and the confetti, you kiss the member of the opposite sex you're with, or whatever turns you on, as we say. So when I was about 17 or so, I was at a pathetic little high school party with a very pretty young girl. She was not my girlfriend. I just happened to end up with her that night. I don't remember how. Very nice young lady. And I was talking to 47 people, not just limiting my company to her, so I didn't really notice whatever she was doing for about 40 minutes before the stroke of midnight. There was some dancing, some joking, some drinking, all that New Year's Eve shtick. And suddenly I heard, Guy Lombardo on the radio and people say, well, 14 more seconds and stuff. And pretty soon the moment arrived and I thought, oh, I got to kiss the young lady. I did not, as we say, have eyes for her at the moment, so it wasn't something I looked forward to. But I was just being a nice guy so that she didn't go home and say, nobody kissed me. I was going to kiss her at the stroke of 12. So I was kind of shy, and so I said to her, Happy New Year, and she said, Happy New Year, and we both smiled at each other. And I put an arm around her, kind of clumsily, teenager style, and put my mouth on hers, and I had to control myself because what I wanted to do was go, it was that bad. It was like sucking an ashtray. The poor girl had been smoking apparently for the previous 7 years, but I'd never noticed. At least that's how she smelled. It took any possibility of romance or sex or even want to see her again time.
But they didn't do sex in those days, did they?
Once. There was once that somebody had sex in 1702 in
I don't believe
Eastern
it.
Poland.
I remember, listen, I remember when...
But anyway,
they had no pill and all
smoking
that stuff.
Seriously, smoking is disgusting to many who so perceive it. And to repeat a much more important point, it kills in a terrible way 425,000 a year, and the number keeps climbing. You might say, well, how can it keep climbing when now we all know the bad news? People of my generation, I never did smoke, but people of my generation had a great excuse. They didn't know it was bad for them. And they wanted to look like George Raft in a movie or something.
You thought it was cool.
Yeah, it was pretty stupid even that way, but if you dug that, if you had no class yourself, you could acquire some by smoking like Garbo or what have you. But now, teenagers today must have heard about all those deaths, and it's not
they
that...
They don't care.
They
just don't care. And I'd say to these kids, why are you smoking? It's a nervous country. And this is the answers I would get. Yeah. Guys, there's so many questions I want to ask you because...
I'll entitle you to 7 more.
No, we have to come back on 7 more times because they're doing all these crazy things with me.
Good.
But you promise you'll come back. I mean, I actually made a list this time because I've asked you so many questions. At this time, I said, my God, I've run out of questions to ask you, and still not sound like a total dork.
I find that hard to believe.
Well, I'm basically shy, and I did research. I mean, I want to ask you about next one, about cults and women's rights and all these things too. It's most egotistical, but those I'll save for next time.
All right. Jane has rights. She also has a hell of a left, but...
She told me one of these days, she said she'd come on the show with you. You think you can ever convince her to come next time with you?
That's entirely up to you and Jane. I vote yes, but I don't have any control.
Well, the invitation to come is definitely always there.
All right.
And in fact, I spoke with Louis Nye. I wanted him to come on with you too.
Good idea. Let him and Jane come on the show.
Well, no, you have a long history back with him.
Oh yes, we're old pals.
So I remember seeing you at, I think it was some inauguration or something with Louis Nye and Bill Dana.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I saw you Bill Dana not long ago.
You talked to him, you say?
Huh?
Do you say you talked to him?
No, I saw you.
You saw me with him?
Yeah.
Yes, I have been seen with him. It's a big talk around
on
town.
a few occasions. So maybe we'll get Bill Dana to come back, whatever. And you out there, folks, I'm very, very glad, as usual, that you turned on my show. You came in to watch Arlene Peck, and keep coming back because it may be outrageous sometimes, but it's never boring, I hope. So keep coming back, and wow, it's Arlene Peck.
From your lips to Godzilla.
Thank God. I'm so glad you came in. I mean, really, it was, and everything was fine. We got on time.
No problem.
And keep coming back, promise me?
Okay.
Okay. I have a lot of questions to ask you, but we're not, you can't get up yet because they're still doing it.